Marilyn Manson just released a new album, and I'll be honest with you, I've never been a big fan of him. There was something about the way he looked. He just looked very creepy to me, and for that reason, I never listened to his albums. I knew the singles that were released back in the late 90s and early 2000s. I thought those were pretty cool. I also remember the first time I heard his cover of Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. It was after watching the remake of A House on Haunted Hill, and it started playing during the credits. So for that reason, I like that song. But as far as his albums, I never really listened to them. There was one album that I listened to that was because I was part of a panel for an Is It That Bad episode, and we talked about The High End of Low from 2009, and I actually liked that album very much. I thought it was a really good album, and I remember listening to Heaven Upside Down briefly in 2017, but I didn't like that album, or I remember not liking it. So I listened to that one. And I have a music review channel, so I kind of feel obligated to review this new album by Marilyn Manson called One Assassination Under God, Chapter 1, and it's actually better than I expected. So let me talk about this. One Assassination Under God, Chapter 1 is Marilyn Manson's 12th studio album. This was the beginning of a new chapter for him, as a few months prior he was in the spotlight due to various controversies and legal battles, which I'm not going to be talking about in this video. This video is just going to be about the new album and the music, but I think this album is going to be remembered as one of his better ones from his later period. And this is coming from someone who is not a fan, but in my research, I found a few things that hint to the fact that this is going to be somewhat of a comeback for him. The first factor is that he's been doing pretty well on the charts. The album singles have been doing pretty well. So, for example, As Sick as the Secrets Within hit number 1 on Billboard's Hard Rock Digital Song Sales chart and number 6 on Hard Rock Songs. Raise the Red Flag peaked at number 8 on the Hard Rock Songs and number 2 on the Hard Rock Digital Song Sales. And for that reason, you can't deny he still has lots of fans. His success is not just in the US. The singles also perform well in the UK, with Raise the Red Flag reaching 35 on the UK singles sales chart. And that was Marilyn Manson's highest position on that chart ever. As Sick as the Secrets Within also achieved a career high number 42 on the UK singles downloads chart. And another factor that helped him gain exposure was his touring. Following the album's release, the band toured extensively, including North American co-headlining tour with Five Finger Death Punch and a planned European tour in 2025. This kept the album and Manson himself in the public eye and reinforced his connection with his fans. The album also features a new lineup for the band, noticeably Reba Myers from Code Orange, the first female member of the group. Despite initial criticism, Myers' inclusion was ultimately seen as a positive step representing growth, confidence, forgiveness, humanity, and change within the band. He's also continuing his successful creative partnership with Tyler Bates, who co-produced the record and contributed musically. This ongoing collaboration ensured a level of creative consistency and quality that resonated with fans. So it appears that this album has had a positive impact on Marilyn Manson's career. It marked a return to commercial success, expanded his audience, and presented a revitalized band image while staying true to their artistic core. Another thing that helped him make a comeback was the fact that he released a few singles prior to the release of the album. So the lead single was called As Sick as the Secrets Within. This was released on August 2nd, 2024. It was accompanied by a music video directed by Bill Ukick. And the songs that released coincided with the start of Manson's North American tour with Five Finger Death Punch. Raise the Red Flag was released on August 16, 2024, with a limited edition CD release of 3,000 copies. The music video was also directed by Ukic and showcased the band's current lineup, which included the aforementioned Reba Myers. And then it was Sacrilegious, released on September 27, 2024, with a music video also by Ukic, and then they released a new album November 22nd, 2024, the subject matter of today's video. I decided to give this album a few listens before the review. And one thing I noticed was that he used a lot of different styles throughout this album. So let's talk about that now. First thing I noticed was that the album has a few songs with an industrial metal sound. These songs utilized sounds like distorted vocals and bass, repetitive riffs, and electronic elements. But then there was one genre that I noticed on this album. I don't know if anyone else noticed it because I haven't read or watched any reviews yet. But for me personally, I heard a lot of influence from post-punk. And I heard it on several tracks, such as Death Is Not a Costume and Raise the Red Flag. I thought they sounded like bands like Bauhaus and Joy Division, which are some of the most well-known bands in the post-punk genre. I also heard a little bit of nu metal. I think the one song that showed off that sound was the track called Meet Me in Purgatory. I also thought that some of the songs had a goth rock sound, such as Death is Not a Costume. The last thing I noticed were there were hints of psychedelic rock, which could be heard on the song Nod If You Understand. There was another thing I noticed, and that was the album has lots of different tempos and moods. So, for example, there were lots of different shifts between the slower atmospheric tracks and the faster, more aggressive songs. For example, I thought many of the songs were very slow and creepy, such as the title track, No Funeral Without Applause, and As Sick as the Secrets Within. He used electronic elements, distorted guitars, and a mix of spoken and scream vocals on these tracks. And that kind of creates this unsettling and intense atmosphere. Then there were other tracks, such as Not If You Understand and Sacrilegious, which were more faster paced with more industrial metal sound and the repetitive thrash style guitar riffs. I felt that these faster songs provided a contrast to the slower atmospheric tracks, and this gave the album a lot of variation. Then there were the darker tracks like Death is Not a Costume, Meet Me in Purgatory, and Raise the Red Flag, which had the thick bass guitar sounds and distorted and screaming vocals. Many songs also had trippy interludes, which added to the album's disorienting and unsettling atmosphere. The closing track, Sacrifice of the Mass, brought the album to a close with a final dose of the darkness and creepiness that we would come to expect. So in conclusion, as I said before, I'm not an expert on Marilyn Manson. I've only listened to him passively over the years. But from what I listened to in this album and from what I researched, I think this is somewhat of a comeback for him, given he was involved with so much controversy in these past years. So I'm going to give it another high score, which is going to be an 8.5 out of 10. So let me know what you think in the comment section. If you are a longtime fan of Marilyn Manson, is this a comeback? Or, I mean, you can tell me I'm wrong, because people do all the time. But let me know if you like the album. Do you think it's one of the stronger ones from a later period? And in the meantime, I'm going to put that Is It That Bad episode of The High End of Low over here. I'll see if I can link it in the video description, and I'll do that as well. So thanks for watching. Please give this video a like. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe. If you have not already, I do recommend reviews, rankings, and more. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And let me also say I have memberships, and it's $2.99 a month, one tier. I'm not doing all these multiple tier things, so you can make video requests. If you want me to review an album, I'll review that album. And another perk is that you get to see my videos earlier than everyone else. A lot of times I will record and upload a video maybe up to 5 days before I actually post it, so you can see it the day that I upload it. So that is all. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.